When you're working with an Electron.js based desktop application, it is quite common for you to come with situations where you want to save something on the desktop. It can be user preference or it can be something related to configuration which you would want to persist till the user, let's say, is not logging out. So in these kind of situations, we would typically use the file storage, although we can use the session and local storage, but they are browser based thing on the front end, and it will be good if we can have something, a more reliable way of saving this information. And in this video I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So let's get started. In here I have a temporary page where basically what I'm doing is, let's just say if I save some value and if I click on this thing, it shows me that I was clicked, and then if I reload the application and do get key, it gives me the configuration value that I just stored. The question will be, when will we need some kind of a thing? Well, it can be, let's just say we are storing some user's preference about what is the size of the window that he prefers, what position he prefers, or maybe sometimes certain kinds of application level configuration as well. For example, the last folder the user visited or the last page that the user visited, so that you get a better user experience for your desktop app. Now, how do we do that is something which I would like to show you. So first of all, on the temp page, if you see, I have this basic button. On click of it, there is this handle click method which says that I was clicked, and it sends an event called key set, and the name is the key which we are sending in an object, and the value is a state variable which is key. Now this state variable is being managed through this input field. Very straightforward stuff. I am setting the state variable to the value on change, and the value is being binded over here. And this button over here, what it does is it is calling a configure store.getSecret function. How am I getting this configure store? Well, this is available to me through the config store inside the window object, and that is done by having this function inside preload.js, where I am setting the context bridge and exposing this function to the main world. So configure store has one method called getSecret, which if you see gives you only the store value. It is important to understand that you can potentially store quite a few variables in your file, and you may not want the user to randomly get a state of the entire file. So what I have done over here is I have a very specific function called getSecret, and I'm just getting this value. How am I doing it? Well, there's a settings.js. I'll just, this function, I'm importing it from that. So let's open that up. Now this setting.js is responsible for the storage thing right now. I'm planning to get more features into it. But the first thing over here is I'm creating a constant called store, which is coming from this npm module called electron store. Now, as you can understand, the setting.js is something which is being executed on the server side. The store, a new version or a new object is created over here. Take a note of this encryption key. We will come to it a little later. Then I have two methods over here. One is the get store value, and the second one is set store. So get value basically takes a key and it checks whether the store has that value or not. If there is, then it will return it, or else null. And I have a setter as well. So it takes the key and the value, it stores the key value and returns the just saved value over here. I'm just exposing the getSecret function, and I have passed the key over here as well. So as you can understand, there is no way for the user to get any other value that we have in our store. Now obviously with this in place, what is happening is this thing got covered, which is how am I getting the secret value. But the question is, how am I setting it? We saw over here handle click is the function which is getting called when I am clicking on the click me button. I'll just show you the UI once more. This is the button. On clicking this value on this button, I am calling this handle click function. It is sending an event through the IPC renderer. Event name over here is key set, and I'm sending this data. So if I go to my main.js, I will see somewhere over here I have IPC main on. I don't need so many consoles. Maybe I'll just get rid of them. I had them for my my experimentations. Okay, so set store name with the name which is coming from the event. So I'll just show you once more. What happens is temp.tsx raises this event, passes this object. Now main.js receives that. It calls the set store function which we just created inside our settings.js, right? This is communicating with the store. So that's done and this is saved. I'm not returning anything over here as of now. Okay, but yeah, I just save it. All right, with this in place, as I showed you, if I go to sections, temp, my value, if I hit click me, it will save it. And then if I do click get key, I get my value. So this is working. And what I will do is I'll show you on Mac where the configuration file is. So if you go to users, your username, library, application support, and the name of your Electron app. So for example, your name of the Electron app is always going to be the name which is defined inside package.json. So mine was Electron app. Hence my folder is application support / Electron app. In this config.json is what we have. Well, now this doesn't make sense. This is kind of encrypted, and that's why I said keep a note of the configuration which is over here. The store by default allows a way of providing an encryption key so that no random user can come in, or even the current user, which is me. I'm not going into the JSON file and making some random changes, because it can potentially create certain kinds of problems. So if you are of that sort who want to control that, you can keep this. However, if you don't do that, let me show you that version of the config.json file as well. So I have commented it out. I'll just delete this file because it shouldn't already exist. And now, yeah, it will complain. So I'll just stop and run the application once more. Go to temp, get key is giving me undefined, which is correct because I haven't set it. The file is deleted as well. You can see there's no config file. But the moment I save a value, something like this, and I do click me, it says I was clicked. And if I come over here, I can see the config.json. If I open it up, can you see the JSON file has this key name with the value save a value. Obviously, this means I can potentially open the JSON file. I don't know if I have the correct permission, but manually edited. Okay, and now let's see if I'm able to read it. So get key. Yes, I am. But as you can see, this does allows a little bit of flexibility to a very important file. And if you don't want that, if you feel that this is not something which you would typically allow your user to do, then you can get rid of this. But yes, this is how you can use this module Electron Store to create a configuration file, store some meaningful information in it as well, and use that in your desktop application. So yeah, that's about it, guys. That's how we can store some important information inside this JSON file and use that inside our application for quite a few things. So my one idea is that I will be creating a desktop application which allows me to manage S3 bucket files, and what I can potentially do is keep the API key and the secret inside this configuration file so that I can remember them as a user and still be able to keep the value in an encrypted format so that anyone accessing the machine will not easily be able to get the value. So yeah, that's about it guys. If you like this video, do click on the thumbs up icon and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.